Hey everybody, welcome to worship. Today, it's good to be back with you. I missed you last week, but here we are together again. If you have your sheep, I want to get that because Jesus, the Good Shepherd, welcomes us here in this place. You can take your sheep, and I'm going to put mine in my sheepfold right next to Jesus in a safe place with Jesus. Now, since we didn't, let's do our greeting. I almost forgot. Did you forget? Let's get our L's out for Lord. We'll say, the Lord be with you, and also with you. Very good. Now, what I was going to say is that since we didn't meet last week, we need to move our calendar how many spaces forward? That's right, 2 spaces. So 2 Sundays, and we're still in the green growing time. So I'm going to do that right now. You can watch me here. Ready? Go 1, 2. There we go. Well, Jesus has welcomed us into this place. We know God is with us wherever we are, in our homes, in our grandparents' homes, outside, in our yard, in our living rooms, in this worship space. And so we worship today, knowing that God is near us and close to us and with us. Well, if you'd like to sing some songs together, you can pause the video here and you can sing, worship God. And I'm going to get ready here for our story. So when you're done, end with, be still and know that I am God. And that helps us get ready for our story today. I wonder what this is. It's kind of shiny and gold. I wonder if this is a parable. Another parable. Parables are precious, like gold is precious, and this is like gold. Parables are kind of like a present to us. They've already been given to us by Jesus. And this looks like a present, doesn't it? Has a bow on top. Presents we can't steal or take for ourselves or buy. They're just given. Just like a parable is. Oh, and this has a lid on it too. Parables can kind of sometimes seem like they have a lid on them because they could sometimes be confusing at first. But whatever is inside, parable is very precious. I have an idea. Let's take this lid off and see what's inside. What do you think? Okay. I wonder what this is. Should we take a closer look? You want to see it closer up? Okay, let me get who these men are. I wonder who this is. Well, Jesus said such wonderful things and did such amazing things that people wanted to be near him, to hear what he had to say and to ask him questions. And Jesus often told stories to help people understand how God wanted them to live. One day, Peter came to Jesus and said, "How many times should I forgive someone who has hurt me?" Well, Jesus listened to Peter's question, and then he told him a story. Once, there was a king who was busily figuring out what each of his servants owed him. And when he saw that one of his servants owed him a lot of money, he called for that servant. The king told the servant that he owed a lot of money, and unless he could pay it back right away, the servant's wife, children, and everything he owned would be sold to repay the loan. Well, the servant fell down before the king. He begged and he pleaded with the king, saying, "Have patience with me, and I will pay you everything I owe you." Well, when the king saw how upset the servant was, his heart was soft and he felt sorry for the servant. The king forgave the servant everything he owed and sent him on his way. Now, the forgiven servant went and found another servant who owed him just a little bit of money. He grabbed the man and said fiercely, "Pay me what you owe." Well, this servant now fell face down in front of this forgiven servant, and he said, "Have patience with me, and I will pay you everything I owe you." Well, the forgiven servant refused to have patience with this man. Instead, he ordered him to be sent to prison until he could repay everything he owed. So he was taken away to prison. Well, when the servant's friends saw what was done, they felt sad. And they went and they told the king all that they had seen and heard. So the king called the forgiven servant back to him. And the king looked at the servant and he said, "Oh, you wicked servant, I forgave you everything you owed me because you begged me to. Shouldn't you also forgive your fellow servant, just as I forgave you?" Then the king sent the servant to prison until he could repay all that he owed. story that was that Jesus told. I wonder what he was trying to say. I wonder what was your favorite part of this story. I thought it was really interesting that the servants did the same thing. So the one servant who owed a lot, he fell down before the king and he said, "Please have mercy on me." And the king did. And then this servant who owed him just a little bit also fell down and said, "Please have mercy on me." And what did he say? He said, "No." I wonder why the servant said no, he wouldn't forgive after he had just been forgiven himself. I wonder why the king changed his mind towards this servant. He first had forgiven him. Then in the end he changed his mind and sent him back to prison. I wonder what it feels like to not forgive someone or to not be forgiven. I wonder if it feels a little bit like prison. I wonder what this story is trying to tell us. I wonder how many times we're supposed to forgive someone. And I wonder if there's anyone that you need to forgive today. I'm going to light our candle here. This reminds us that Jesus, the light, has come into the world, the one who has brought forgiveness for our sins. The good news of the gospel. And that's why we light this candle, to remind us of that. Maybe you would like to do a response time to this. For this story, you could retell it, or you could do a drawing, or do a writing. As we go, why don't you pass the peace of Christ around your house by saying, "Peace of Christ be with you." Till next time.